And I'm live. Hello, my boos, my loves, my family, and my friends. How is everyone on this fabulous Friday? I hope everyone is doing well. I am on location in Massachusetts today, guys. So, trying to knock out as many states, as many locations as I humanly and possibly can during the next God, I think I've got like a week and a half left here in New England. So, trying to get it all done, trying to cram as much in as possible. Um, what's been insane is it seems like this week has taken on a theme of its own, and I'm running with it. I'm having fun with it, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it as well. Today, I am repping. Let's see, where's my camera at? There we go. I am repping my good friend Vince, the urban investigator. So go and find him. He is tagged on my post. Go give him a like, give him a follow. He goes out and he urbexes, he investigates, he does a lot of amazing things in the field. So definitely go find him, like and follow. Um, yeah. So my boots, my loves, my family, my friends. Today I find myself. Hey Chris, how are you? I am doing very well. Thank you for asking. I find myself today at another hospital. But this hospital has a very unique history, past and present, to it. And I'm really excited to bring it to you guys today. It's a very large campus. I'm going to walk as best as I can, as much as I can. I am still wearing a knee brace today. Gotta love it. So, without further ado, let me go ahead, flip this camera around, and start showing you guys the amazing campus of Medfield State Hospital. Okay, you guys. No, I'm at a different location, Chris. Every day is a different location. I am doing a minimum of one location a day. And due to me being in New England and how spread out everything is, I've been hitting one location a day. But I've also had other things that I was doing, taking care of, friends that I've been spending time with. So, yeah, Paige, I'm trying to hit as much as I can, as hard as I can. I'm trying to use up my time here in New England the smartest that I can. So, you guys, let me introduce you to what is left of the Medfield State Hospital campus. Medfield State Hospital actually did not start as Medfield State Hospital. It actually started as Medfield as an insane asylum, believe it or not. It started construction in 1892. It officially opened its doors in May of 1896. Now, one thing I want to point out, right in the middle, you've got the church. Right here, and I don't know how well you guys can see it, but the clock is actually made out of wood. And it's got like a little door up at the top of it, which makes me think that it had like something that would spring out on the hours. So let's go ahead and I will fill you in on the history and the hauntings and the really cool things that some people may or may not know about this campus. So, as I said, it opened its doors officially in May of 1896. Now, I am going to be careful. Hey, Jenny, welcome. And Mecca, how are you guys? Thank you for joining today. So, with Medfield, like I said, it started off as an insane asylum. It was on over 900 acres. and a total of 58 buildings. Out of the 58 buildings and 900 acres, 128 acres remain. Let's actually walk up this way. There's some more buildings this way, and then we'll work our way backwards. So, yeah, this place is insane. It's actually owned by the town of Medfield now. It was purchased in 2014. Now, going back to the history on the location, it was over 900 acres, 58 buildings, and it was built in a cottage style. Now, with cottage style, what that meant is if you look at the building, you've got your attic space up top. Yeah, let me get a little bit closer. Bear with me as I hobble along, guys. Okay, so with the cottage style, they wanted it to be as comfortable as possible for the patients that were here. So you would have your living quarters, your sleeping quarters would be up top, and down below would be like your living room and your work area. Now, I'm curious, as I go through this campus, if any of my movie buffs are watching, does anybody recognize anything that I will show you today? If you recognize anything, hey Sam, how are you, sis? Thanks for joining. If you guys recognize anything that I am showing you, go ahead and throw it out in the chat. And there's Jamie, hey sis. Oh, and Chris, hey guys, how are you? Yeah, so, I know Chris does. I talked to Chris. So, and if you recognize where these buildings have been seen previously, feel free to spit it out. I'm curious to see if anybody recognizes what Medfield is actually well known for now. So it was actually built to house 1,000 patients, but as we know, that didn't stay the case. It actually climbed in its peak to almost 2,000 patients. And at its highest rate, with the staff that was here, it would have between 500 to 900 staff. So that's nurses, that's doctors, that's psychiatrists, surgeons, aides, cooks, that were all here on site with the patients. Now, and when it first opened, the staff actually lived in the buildings with the patients. Mind you, this opened as an insane asylum. Now, by 1902, they started a nursing program that was a 2-year program in conjunction with I believe it's the Boston University. Yes, Sam, that's exactly what was filmed here, but there's also more that's been filmed here too. Come to find out, this location is used quite frequently for horror films, suspense, and thrillers. So if you guys can think of anything else that looks familiar from this location, go ahead and throw it out in the chat. Now, with the city buying it in 2014, it is open to the public. You can actually park, like I'm actually parked down there, and I'm parked right within the buildings. So you can actually park on site, walk down, you can walk down to the river, which is down there, and we will make our way down there as well. Yeah, Jamie, it's nuts, the stuff that happened here. So with the nursing program in 1902 that started 2-year program, by 1914 it actually up to a 3-year program, and in the same year of 1914, that is when this location officially changed its name from Medford Insane Asylum to Medford State Hospital, which is what we know it as today. I'll throw a movie name out there for you guys, Knives Out. That is a movie that is known to be filmed here. Now, out of the 58 buildings that were originally constructed on the 900 acres, 35 of those buildings remain, and it's 128 acres that is left. Now, one thing that was a huge issue health-wise for this location was the massive influenza outbreak in 1918, similar to the COVID outbreak of 2020. Oh, it definitely is, Jenny. So, another really interesting fact that I was able to find out about this location, it did end up shutting down April 3rd of 2003. Now, when it shut down, from the 1970s until it closed its doors in 2003, the population here dwindled from the almost 2,000 patients that were crammed in here. Mind you, this campus was built for only 1,000. But it dwindled all the way down to less than 200 people, which was the deciding factor to close the location. It sat abandoned, and then that's when in 2014 the city of Medfield ended up purchasing it. Now, some of these buildings do have signs out front, and certain groups are actually taking these buildings and they're repurposing them. Like the church that we were at up front, they are repurposing that into an art center. I just wanted to walk a little bit closer so we could see the windows. And trust me, I've been looking at every opening. They've got this thing locked up tighter than Fort Knox. Now, onto the hauntings. So, just like with any asylum, state hospital, I mean, you always have your typical, apparitions, disembodied voices, the screams, the howls, the moans, the cries for help, the nurses. Speaking of nurses, you guys are not going to believe the picture that I caught yesterday at Letchworth Village. I'll be posting that later. I actually got a nurse that I caught on camera from there. So I will be posting that picture later today. Yeah, it's very somber. It's very peaceful. Like, when I was at Letchworth yesterday, you could, around certain buildings, I actually felt sick. When I would walk up on the porches, I literally would feel sick to my stomach. Like the energy that was just coming from it was just nauseating. It would make me dizzy. Yeah, the nurse picture is actually really cool because it's in front of where a window should be, but the glass in the window frame is completely gone. So it's not my reflection at all. I've had 2 different people, actually 3 different people have looked at this photo and analyzed it for me to make sure that I wasn't just seeing things. I wasn't even the one who found it in the photo. Somebody else found it for me. I wasn't even trying to find anything. They were going over. Oh, hi, babies. Hi, Henry. How are you? You want to come say hi? Oh, okay. Hi, baby. Thank you. You be good, Henry. Oh, he's still a puppy? How old is he? 19 months? Oh my goodness. He's going to be a big boy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to get bigger for you. Sorry. Yeah, what's really cool, guys, is that with this being a park, just like with Letchworth being a park, is that there's so many people out here with their children, pushing strollers. People are out here with their dogs, like you just saw with Henry, who jumped in to say hi. So what I'm noticing on some of these buildings, and I'm going to show you this, evidently these, I'm wondering, okay, it's got a thing right here in the corner, so let's find out what this is. Okay, she died last week. I extend my hand. You bear a hug. Grieving grace astounds. So they've got a poetry project here. It says, well, hello, how are you? We got another one, guys. Hi, babies. It says the original haiku is part of the poetry project. The poetry project is a way for community members of all ages to engage in creating and reading poetry. The Cultural Alliance of Medfield, the Medfield Public Library, and Medfield TV collaborated to bring you this temporary poetry installation of original haikus and poems, blackout poetry, and favorite poems, submitted in response to an open call over the summer 2019. When you see a QR code, scan it with a barcode reader app on your phone to hear the poem read aloud. The poems range from humorous to the sublime. Some may surprise you or tickle you, give you a nudge, or even leave you in awe. In this public sphere, the usually solitary act of reading poetry becomes a shared experience. We invite you to tell us about your favorite poems at info@medfieldculture.org. The poetry project was authorized by the Board of Select Men and is part of a series of creative placemaking programs to highlight different art forms, bring people together to enjoy this property, and build support for future arts and cultural activities on the ground. It's all about what inspires you. This is Medfield culture. They are boarded up, Chris, to keep people out. A lot of these buildings are probably not structurally safe. You have to remember that they started construction in 1892 and the doors officially opened in 1896. So this is most likely as well to keep the vandals out. You guys, if anybody saw my Letchworth video yesterday, you saw all of the damage that's been done to those historic buildings. So, in all honesty, it's actually smart that they have all of these boarded up to keep them from being, destroyed when you think about it. So a lot of the buildings that I'm walking by are housing, just so you guys know. You've got the school right there. Now, all these buildings were built in the same contemporary style. Why, thank you, Drew. All right, we got more buildings back there we'll get to. So, school, housing. Now, once influenza came through in 1918 and basically did then what it did to us in 2020, that's when they started separating the staff from the patients totally and completely with living arrangements. Yeah, this place, it's like I said, it's left on 128 acres, and there's 35 buildings that are left from the 58. It was designed, for those who did not hear it first, it was designed in a cottage plan because they wanted everybody to feel more comfortable, to feel at ease with their treatments, to not feel like they were locked up in society. On top of that, here's another little known fact about Medfield. Medfield was actually constructed to ease the overpopulation in the insane and sanitarium buildings. Oh, there's something right there. Let's see if we can get to that. There's another massive one right there. And from what I understand, these buildings are consistently monitored, and they do have motion sensors. So if you do try to get into the buildings, please be prepared to be arrested on the spot and a hefty fine be handed out to you. And if you guys remember, on Tuesday, I went to the Belchertown school, and Drew was the one that graciously, wow, took me to that location and helped me with the history. Drew, thank you so much for that again. I look forward to us doing some more before I take back off for Fort Wayne. So I imagine with this empty field that they most likely had other buildings throughout here. And I can't get to the door. But if you notice, the roof is caving in. I mean, I could get to it, but I'd probably hurt myself again, even worse. All right, let's make our way back over to that big building. And see what we can find. I'll be honest, there's a few of these that I'm like salivating to get inside of. For the most part, they're all cookie cutter. They're all the same. But then you've got something big and beautiful like this one that is not. And the way the fencing is, I really wonder what the history of this building is. I actually had another hospital in mind I was going to go to today in Connecticut, but they have recently put fencing up around the hospital so you cannot get to it. And you guys know how I love to do tie-ins. That hospital was actually the place where the first Saw movie was filmed. So I was really trying to get to that one. But I'm still thankful I was able to find this location and bring it to you today. Well, Chris, you have to look at it this way. They are trying to preserve the history. I would rather a building be boarded up and the city buy the property and maintain it without having to worry about vandals breaking in than, I mean, look at two different states, very similar properties, and look at the different conditions that they're in. If you guys remember with Letchworth yesterday, I mean, it was fenced, but I was still able to get in to certain areas, look through windows. So, and Letchworth is just, I will be honest, I from what I saw from the inside of a few places, I'll say this much. Look at my video that I posted across all platforms today. I posted it on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, well, X, Instagram, and you can see how destroyed the building is. I mean, this one would be amazing to get inside. I'm going to be honest, like, this has the whole, like, Left 4 Dead video game feel, like almost The Walking Dead. Like, this would be, like, a safe zone, in a way. This thing is huge. Yeah, see, I'm really wondering, like, and you can see where people have cut through. See, here's the fence right here. I don't want to touch it. But here's the fence right here. And then they had to put a new metal grate around. And it's all locked in. I mean, people are always going to try to break into locations like this. And I definitely feel that with the history, if you opened it up as a museum, opened up a couple of the buildings for paranormal investigation, I think that would be huge. But when there's a society of people who see stuff like this as a playground for them to go in and graffiti and break and destroy, I understand why certain places are very protective. Now here you can see the porches, and here, let me get a little closer. The porches are actually all fenced in, totally and completely fenced in. So with the yard being the way that it is, with it being fenced in, the porches being fenced in, like even the gates are lettered, I honestly wonder if this is where, when they started doing transitions within this place from an insane asylum to a state hospital, if this is possibly where, don't quote me on this, this is just something I'm wondering, and I'm actually going to have to look into the history deeper for this building, but could this be a building where they had the insane or the mentally unstable? I mean, look at they got these big ass floodlights too, like up there. Mind you, this closed down in 2003. So yes, it is very possible for them to have installed big ass floodlights like that later on. But it looks like they've got a big yard where they, like, look, you got benches there. Here, there's benches. Back there, there's benches. Oh, thank you so much, Jenny. I'm just glad I can do this for you guys. Like, this is definitely a passion of mine, bringing a lot of these locations that I go to, the locals know. If you're in New England, you know Medfield. I'm going to be honest, I'm being from, the Midwest, I knew of Medfield, and you guys can laugh at me on this. If you guys have played Fallout 4, where it's based in Boston, they actually talk about Medfield Hospital. So a lot of the places that I drove through today to get to this location are actually in the Fallout 4 game. So that's the only way I knew some of these names, to be completely honest. I know that might sound really cheesy. But yes, secretly I like to play video games. but I don't have time for that anymore. The paranormal is life now, and I wouldn't have it any other way, along with these amazing road trips where I can bring you guys these gems. It might not be a hidden gem to the people who live in New England, but for people who live in other places like the Midwest, the West Coast, another country, you're not going to know about this location. Maybe you might know it if you read the credits on a few horror movies or thrillers. It's another puppies. Oh, Jenny, Fallout's my jam. That's my go-to. I didn't do Fallout 76. I don't like, I want to play Fallout on my own. I don't want somebody coming in and screwing up my game. So, never touch that one. Now, what's interesting too is if you guys watch my video that I took yesterday inside of one of the buildings that I was in, you're going to hear things that are not me making the noises. And I'm curious if any of you have watched my video, have you guys caught on to the noises that are not me? But I've got a few more hidden gems that are up my sleeve. I've got a couple more collaborations in the works. Tomorrow, I just saw a message drop down. Somebody asked where I will be tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will go ahead and announce it. I will be at the Lawrence Phantasmacon in New Jersey, which is right there at the Mohegan Sun. I do not have a table, but I will be there all day walking around. So if you were there, if you're going to be going there and you see me, grab me. Make sure we get to like meet each other face to face and say hi and take a picture together. I love meeting everybody, like all my friends that I've made through Facebook and the other social outlets. I love getting the chance to finally meet you guys all face to face. So if you're going to be there, look for me. I'll be wearing my Be Like Bree gear tomorrow. Yeah, so school. At least that's my best guess, because that sure looks like a school to me. But as you can see, it's cookie cutter, cookie cutter, cookie cutter. Like, they're all the same. And I will be at the Paracon tomorrow all day. I will even be going and doing the haunted investigation with Dan. I'll be attending it, I should say, the haunted investigation with Dan Riviera, where there's going to be the investigation of the haunted objects. Yep, vocational services. This was the work center. You got to think, Chris, I'm in New Jersey, so I'm not that far from a lot of places. Where I'm staying at in Connecticut to drive to Medfield today was only, I would say, close to a 2-hour drive. Everything is like super close to me for the most part. Yeah, so here's the vocational services. Building number 27. What's sad, like this is what makes me sad, is if you notice, they've had to board the windows up top of these buildings. And here, I'll show you why. And Chris, this is why I don't really have an issue with people boarding buildings. Especially if you're trying to protect the safety of the public and trying to protect the integrity of a historic landmark. Because one thing too is that this property is on the National Registry of Historic Locations, landmarks. Look at the block glass. Like, why would you do that? I'll be honest, breaking windows is one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, why are you going to do that? I mean, I don't like graffiti either, but it pisses me off because you'll see like beautiful, where there should be a beautiful stained glass window, there's now broken windows. And I don't understand the rhyme and the reason for doing that. But what's great is that with this location being preserved is, and I believe that it became protected in 1992, but I could be wrong about that date. Don't quote me on that, just in case I am incorrect on my date on that. With it going to being a protected property, we're able to keep them. They do have to have certain amounts of maintenance done to them. If they cannot maintain, then yes, that's when they end up being leveled. But what's amazing is that they're here for us to share with our children. You know, we're here to enjoy them. We're here to be able to share them with our children. I've had a lot of children running around. Yeah, and what's sad too is that what people don't realize is a lot of the glass that are used in these buildings, with the age, a lot of the glass is like a lead glass and can no longer be replicated. So if you've got like the block glasses, like they do sell the block glasses for windows now, but it is not the exact same. So they would not be able to replace those to make it historically accurate. And with a lot of locations like this, depending on the state, I've noticed with the different states that I have gone through that it does vary from state to state. But 9 times out of 10, if you are replacing, it has to be the exact same to uphold the historical significance and integrity of the building. So I thought this was interesting too. Thank you, Chris. You have a great Friday evening and a great weekend. So I'm going to go ahead because we are right back. Actually, my car is just right over there. I'm going to flip the camera real quick, guys. Bring you back to my ugly mug. Just kidding. Nick, if you see that, that was a joke. But, no, like, there's so much. Oh, shit, I forgot. There's another building down there. I think it's amazing that they're able to try to save these locations. You have to understand, in the Midwest, what you guys have here in New England, we don't have that much of. A lot of the sanatoriums, however you want to pronounce them, insane asylums, state hospitals, the schools, a huge portion of those are no longer existent. They did not survive. So for me, being a Midwesterner, to come out here and enjoy the properties that I've been able to see, even if I can't get into them, but to be able to walk around them because they've been turned into parks, that is huge. Like, you don't see... Oh, there's flying spiders right here. They're coming out the tree. If you guys know, what do I hate? I hate spiders. So there's one more building here. I'll flip the camera one more time and show you guys these. Well, I don't know why I said these. It's just one. Sorry, I'm not trying to give you guys a dirty look. The sun's right in my eyes. So here's another big one. Now, another interesting fact that I did forget to share with you guys, and I apologize for this, with the 900 acres. This was actually a working farm up until the 1960s. So this was a completely self-sustaining facility. And I just walked into a tree branch. So I imagine you got your loading dock here. See, look, like even, oh, my knee just buckled. Even here with these windows, some have survived, some have had rocks thrown through them, some are completely gone. And I know that if these are the original, with the type of glass that was used, yeah, you're not going to be able to replace that to uphold the historical integrity for it to be consistent with what it is supposed to be on a historical registry. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Love you, girl. Says you. See, you can park all the way back here. Let's see what's back here. That building's pretty interesting. It's got a beautiful mural of a girl playing a violin. I didn't even realize that that building was back here. I know that the James River is over here. So you got building 7 right here. I already walked around the front of those. Now, just in case anybody wants to come here, just so you know, this is a public park. You can bring your dogs. There are certain parts that I did notice as I walked along that your dogs cannot be unleashed on, or your dogs cannot be on those parts of the grass. It does close at dusk, which means I'm going to have my ass out of here by 6. But, so I'm imagining that they had buildings like all throughout here as well. Down back here. And let's see what this is. It looks as if they've got walking trails as well. Yeah, because there's cars parked over there. There's a bridge. I mean, seriously, could you imagine almost 2,000 patients when it was built for 1,000? The ebb and the flow of the people on this property, the energies that the land holds. Well, there's a sign. What does this say? Oh, it's a map. And it describes all of the buildings. And somebody's got a missing dog. That's sad. So here's a map of what is left of the property. Okay, so I'll read this off to you guys as quick as I can. So you got the Hillside House, which was built in 1931. That's where the assistant physician lived with his family. So one, did we walk by one? Where's one? One is all the way here. Yep, that's the house I walked around. Right there. 2 is West Hall. That's where the male staff live. 3 is the males information. Okay, so I want to know. So this is that big one I questioned with the fencing. 13. 13 is overflow. Okay, that's an overflow ward for the female patients. So look, the men had buildings 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh wait, no, that's the training academy. So 8. So they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buildings. You had 2 men's dining halls. Yeah. East Hall. Look at this. Superintendent's house. So much. I'll definitely be taking a picture and posting this when I do all my still shots and posting that for everybody. Yeah, it definitely puts it all into perspective for sure, Jenny. Let's flip the camera back around. So you guys, this is Medfield. This is where Shutter Island has been filmed. This started off as an insane asylum and moved itself over in name to a state hospital in 1914, but the doors did open here in 1896. Construction started in 1892. It officially closed its doors April 3rd of 2003. 2014, the city of Medfield purchased the property. A lot of the buildings are still undecided as to what they will be doing with them. But some of them are designated with signs outside of them that they are going to be used for performing arts. So, yeah, Shutter Island was actually filmed here along with a few other thriller and horror films as well. If you Google it, you can find them. I will also provide a small list. Throwing Knives is another movie that has been filmed here as well. And there was one, I think Cursed was filmed here too, from what I remember. So there's been a long line of movies that have actually been filmed on this property, which is like extremely cool. So if anybody doesn't know Shutter Island, just think of Leonardo DiCaprio. An amazing movie. Highly suggest that you watch it. It is a great one. Will not be a waste of your time. I promise you that. So, oh, that's fine. Tell your mom I said hi, Sam. So I'm going to be jumping off here. I got to do my still shots. I would like to try to sneak another location in, but I do have a podcast I'm going to be on tonight with co-host Diego. We're doing a pre-recording of it. It'll be released within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I will make sure you guys get the information. And for anybody who has not had a chance, go and listen to the podcast I did on Monday with Old World Paranormal Society with Nick Carboni and Sean Coletta. It was absolutely amazing. Um, yeah, I actually give my I puke everything out about my time at Hinsdale. So if you want to know about my 3-day, 2-night stay at the Hinsdale house that started my trip, my Halloween special, and my tour of New England, you're definitely going to want to watch that podcast. I've got the link on my page. It is available on other locations, on other apps besides Spotify, but Spotify is what I use, so that's what I threw on my page. But if you need another link, I can put those in the comments on that one, so that way you guys can have access to all locations, all apps that podcast can be found on. So, oh, you are more than welcome. Thank you. You guys have an amazing, this is basically Halloween weekend, and I am preparing for the location that I am doing on Halloween. Like I said, I've got my podcast tonight. I will be at the Phantasmacon all day tomorrow, even ending it by attending the investigation of the haunted objects. I will be there with my good friend Gil. So, and then, oh my gosh, yeah. So then Monday, I've got a special surprise for you guys with my locations. The locations I am dropping on Monday, they're going to go all day. Monday, I'm getting up early, I'm hitting the ground running, and it's going to be an all day affair. The one I am doing Monday night, you do not want to miss the live on that one. I am doing a special location for Halloween. I've got a couple more collaborations, and even Sunday, I'm going to a special location. So you never know where you're going to find me at in New England right now. I could pop up anywhere at any time. Keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you got your alerts turned on. Oh, and I will say this. My collaboration with Chris Smith is not done, you guys. There's going to be an ad dropping soon for a great teaser of our next part for that collaboration. You guys don't want to miss that. This time, it's not a Halloween haunt, it's an investigation. a live investigation that you guys are going to be able to sit back, enjoy, get comfy, eat your popcorn. I'm leaving it at that. More information will be dropping about that soon. And that next part actually is going to start November 6th at a very unique and special location as well. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a fantabulous Friday evening, and spooky weekend, you guys. Just like Jenny said, have an amazing spooky weekend. Love you guys. Peace. And don't forget, be like Brie.